Black Brotherhood Squadcast.
Check these brothers out.
The Kings keep shining.
Check these brothers out. Yo, my name is Khalid Shakur. Check these brothers out. Check these brothers out.
The Kings keep shining. Black Brotherhood Squadcast.
Yo, my name is Khalid Shakur. Check these brothers out. Yo, be on the lookout for the Black Brotherhood podcast. These cats are funny.
So this is Alexa V, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the Black Brotherhood Squadcast. The Kings keep shining. Black Brotherhood Squadcast. Keep shining. Black Brotherhood Squadcast. The Kings.
We are here once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host and moderator, DJ Gemini, for the Black Brotherhood Squadcast, with my brothers Nev, Holiday, Fish, and Yancey. This is show 2 of season 2. Before we get started, I would like to dedicate this particular episode to my late Aunt Delma, who passed away about 2:30 this morning. She had a long battle with Alzheimer's, as well as cancer, and it was another illness that she was suffering from that fails me at this particular moment. But she went to the King last night, 2:30 in the morning. So rest in peace, Aunt Delma Gregory, my father's brother's wife. We love you, and you will forever be missed. Now, what's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, fam?
What's happening?
How we feeling?
Good.
Feeling good. We're going to start the show off a little differently than how we normally do. Every other episode, I will select a person to give them 3 minutes to speak what's on their mind. The first up is Mr. Yancey out of Wisconsin.
Represent.
What's on Yancey's mind today?
What's going on, Gemini? What's up, Fish, Holiday, and Nev? Good to see you brothers again. Excuse me. Well, you guys all know that, praise God, I hit the 50 barrier this week, or earlier last week. So now I'm part of the club.
Yes, sir.
I was just taking a moment to reflect, and when Gemini said, hey, I want you to talk about what's on your mind, what's going through your mind right now, I started thinking about my life to this point. You know, I know that, I can't have any regrets because I can't go back and change anything. But I started thinking about the people that I've met along this journey, things that I've said that may have been truthful, things I've said that have been false, things that I've done that I'm not proud of, things that I've done that I am proud of. And I started thinking about what type of legacy do I want to leave? And I'm not talking about in a monetary sense. I'm just talking about, have I made a positive influence on those that I've encountered? And even though I can't change the past, and you can't have any regrets because you can't change the past, I started thinking about, as I move forward, when I have these interactions with family, friends, strangers, coworkers, am I uplifting or edifying them, or am I bringing them down because of some of my insecurities? So that's what's been on my mind the last couple of days. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful and I'm blessed to be here 50 years. But, as you get a little bit older, you start thinking about things. And I'm just looking at it from a personal perspective as far as what type of legacy of influence am I leaving to the people that I encounter or that I meet. So that's what's been on my mind the last couple of days, at least since last Wednesday, March 2nd.
Wonderful. We greatly appreciate you sharing.
Good stuff there.
Yeah.
And happy belated birthday to you.
Yes, happy belated birthday.
Live on air.
Birthday boy.
Back in the big 5-0. 50.
5-0, I don't mean the police.
Real quick,
right.
a couple of other birthday shout outs. Today is not only Shaquille O'Neal's birthday.
Shaq.
It is my wife's wonderful Aunt Shirley's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Aunt Shirley.
Happy birthday, Aunt
Shirley.
B-Day.
And my first ex-wife Karen's birthday as well.
Happy birthday, Karen.
Happy birthday to Shaq, Shirley, and Karen. Now, let's go ahead and get this thing started. First up on the docket that I'm going to put in the pocket is childhood influences. Us here on the Squadcast have had the privilege, blessing of growing up side by side and having each other's back through thick and thin, sun and rain, ups and downs. We all had positive role models that gave us the true imagery of manhood, responsibility, hard work, and dedication. Let us take this time to pay homage to the unsung heroic figures of our childhood. Yancey, I know your tongue is still hot. Go ahead and cool it off for me.
Thanks, Gemini. Well, guys, you know, I have to first start off with Big Sub, Yancey Suber Sr., my father, who I love and cherish dearly, and thank God for him every day. He has been and continues to be, and Lord willing will be, my example of what a man should be. Not perfect by a long shot, but always willing to put his family first before himself. So, you know, I could talk forever about my dad, but I start off with him first. I also start off with you guys because, you know, Dad was, you know, when I was growing up, he was always there. But then, you know, when I would go outside and play, it was you guys. And you guys as family members that helped to shape who I am as well. You know, many conversations with Mr. Fisher, you know, when Ray would have us over to his house. But I started thinking, you know, Brian Scott's father, you know. So I started thinking about all the men that I've had interaction with, you know, going back to Tony Langley, Otis Matthews, Lanny, Mr. Lee Jordan, you know. So, you know, just a lot of, even Matt and John from the Rec, remember? You know, when we go up to the Friday night Rec. So, you know, I started thinking about, you know, of course, my pastor when I was growing up of my church, Reverend James I. Monk, God rest his soul, Mr. Reverend Reed, you know, just so many, Mr. Briggs, my sixth grade school teacher. I mean, just so many different men that I've had the fortune to be around. But again, it starts with Big Sub Sr. Again, I love my dad to death, and there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for him. But if I can be half the man that he is, I think I'd be doing good. So, but you know, also the other thing that I've learned too that I don't want to leave out because it's very, very important is, you know, growing up in the church and getting back into the church and reestablishing that relationship with Christ. That's the other thing that we can look towards too, because yes, there's been a lot of positive male influences in my life, especially my dad. The real example of manhood is Jesus Christ. So, you know, that's the main example we should draw from, because all the other folks that I've mentioned, including my dad, as great as they are human. And they have made mistakes, but we learn from those mistakes. That's what I learned from my dad. A man accepts responsibility for his actions. That's what you have to do, you know. And I forgot to throw one other person there, Mr. Gregory, Joe, your dad. The times that I've had conversation with him, there was Aaron's dad. There was so many, Aladdin's dad. There's just so many father, you know, figures outside of my dad that when I left the home, you know, but again, going back to, you know, from a biblical perspective, the perfect example of manhood is Jesus Christ. And we have to keep that in mind because he's the one that blessed me with all those other individuals that I spoke about, especially my father. So, you know, for me, it comes down to that. And you guys as well, because yes, we spent a lot of time together. We had our ups and downs. I mean, for goodness sake, I've been away from you guys for how many years? If it wasn't for the Black Brother Squad cast, I wouldn't have been able to reconnect with you guys. Not that you guys had forgotten about me, but, it just says something about our upbringings that, we can be distant, but still get back together like nothing has happened. And that's what we've learned, from our childhood. And some of those same guys that I spoke of, you guys know them as well, I forgot Foyez's dad. It's just so many, and not to take away anything from the ladies. Trust me, not to take anything from the ladies. But I was just thinking of the manhood piece, and only a man can truly show you how to be a man. Correct? So, so I was just, don't want to leave the ladies out. I love my mom and all the other, your mom, Mrs. Terry, Mrs. Fisher, Mrs. Ford, Mrs. Gregory. Definitely part of my upbringing as well and my influence. But I just don't want to forget about, again, from the biblical perspective, and just remembering that Christ is our ultimate example of how to be a man. So
wonderfully said. Since you alluded to manhood, I just want to put it out there a little later on this season, the first weekend of April, as a matter of fact, as we kick off the month of Easter. We will be doing a topic called Real Men Raise Real Men. And we have some special guests coming on to help us out with that. But enough of that for now. Dev, it is your turn. Childhood influences.
Childhood influences in my life. There's a few people that helped me become the man that I am. First is my mom. There wasn't too many males around in my house when at a young age, so my mom was my first influence. First person I watched how to work, how to grind, how to do whatever she needed to do, how to take care of a family, how to take care of a child. Everything I've learned started with her. Secondly, then I have a bunch of male figures in my afterwards. After a while, I started gaining a few male figures that I could watch to learn how to be a man, because, like I said, there wasn't one in my household. Start with like Otis Matthews. Otis Matthews was like the first male that I was around a lot, older male that I was around a lot through sports and everything. And I just watched how he just handled himself and took care of a bunch of kids that he didn't have to deal with if he didn't want to. But he gave everybody a chance. Tony Langley is another one that I was around a lot, and how he carried himself as well. I appreciate them. Plus, don't let me forget Calvin Avant as well. I appreciate all those guys for being there for us. And, just looking out for us and giving us a chance to do what we could, become what we wanted to become in life, or give us a chance to at least. So thank you to those three men. I'm going to also add in Lee Jordan to that, because Lee Jordan was the first person in the area to try to build something for us youth in Tacoma Park. And so Lee Jordan is definitely on that list as well. I'm going to piggyback on Yancey. Mr. Suber was the first male on my block that I looked towards to see how a man was, carried himself strong, bold, stood up for what he needed to stand up for, stuff like that. And so I really appreciate Mr. Suber for being, my champion and being a dad, because that's what I saw. Right. Plus Ruth's dad, his name is slipping me right now, but Ruth's dad showed me how to be the smooth side of, to Mr. Suber's rough exterior. He was the smooth side of his, he brought the smooth side to us. So, I got to thank Ruth's dad as well. So, I appreciate a lot of people that came through my life. I got Gilbert Davison, Wendell Parker, they gave me something that I could look towards as a man. Mr. Fisher, just to build me up for when I have a family. I know how to handle myself and take care of what I need to take care of. Exactly. So I appreciate all those men and my mom for being the leader of all that.
Thank you is in order to you, Nev. Real quick to our squad up, our BBSQC listeners. You'll probably hear the names Otis, Laney, Tony, Calvin, and a couple of others come up quite a bit. We got over 40 plus years of brotherhood here on this podcast. I dare not say friendship because, to be honest with you, nothing wrong with the word. It's just a damn insult when it comes to us. So don't feel as if you're just hearing the same thing over and over again. It just lets you know how much those particular men meant to these 5 men. So with that being said, Holiday, do your thing.
Yeah. So for some of y'all, well, all of y'all on here know, my dad wasn't around. So my situation and views were a little bit different. I never had a lot of trust with men. So I never looked to them per se for how to be or who to be or what to be. Though I admired and was happy for like Yancey and UG and Ray, you know, that you had your fathers around in your life, a male figure that you could turn to and question. But until I was adult, all the men names that have been mentioned and Ray that may add some, I've never talked to like back-to-back days about something, you know, constructive. You know, I get a nugget from them here and there, which again, you gotta appreciate coming up. But mine was my household, my mom. I'm a mama's boy, number one, you know, mama's boy. If we had a pole, I'd raise my hand, my feet, everything. I don't mind leading the parade, the charge, the group, whatever you want to call it. I'm a mama's boy. And you also know about my great-grandma who was around. So I was just kind of taught to love and be kind to people. You don't have to be fast to trust, but be willing to trust. So that's what was kind of my thing. As far as that, who I trusted was you guys, you know.
Right.
Yancey was probably the first person to really befriend me. Not that everyone didn't befriend me when I first came out, but, you know, I remember him kind of distinctly being the number one guy. It was just something with me, in fact, that it was just connection there that I can't explain, that, you know, that just carried through. G, to this day, you probably spent the most time in my house than anybody in, you know, the neighborhood at the time. So, and then Ray that's from my high school. That's when really everybody else was gone, you know, but y'all older. Mm-hmm. That was my high school. That was Ray. Ray was right there.
Right.
So, you know, me being the baby of the bunch and all y'all older, those were, you know, my influences, the things, you know, grab a piece of this and a piece of that from you guys, you know,
right, absolutely,
to kind of make me the man I am. And Marcus, for Magic for y'all from the last podcast, stayed at my house a lot. And so little pieces of things, mostly y'all kindness. And, you know, that's how we go about treating people. That's just how we grew up. And so all those male figures, especially like Calvin, Avant, to really reach out, come to that neighborhood and start basketball. You know, the Yes League is still going today.
Really?
That basketball league that he started for us is still going today.
Amazing.
Tony Langley, you know, this guy was a DC cop. What makes him get up and cross that line to come help kids in Tacoma Park year in and year out? I don't know. You know, like you said, Otis Matthews. We had these our rec coaches that would answer any question that we had. So,
right.
And then also, unlike other neighborhoods, we had a good neighborhood. So the older generation was willing to teach us. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to see nothing happen to us. They played with us. They didn't tell us to get away, you too young. We all played tag together. We all played football, you know. Now, basketball, but so many people could play. So, of course, they're going to run with their own and run us off. But, you know, kind of the neighborhood, but mostly my mom and my great-grandma were my biggest influences, just to be kind to people.
Greatly appreciate that, Holiday.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to do a segue. Fish, you can go right on in.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to echo everybody's sentiments on the Tacoma Park side of things. All those people were influences. Every last one, Calvin Avant, the parents, all of them there. So with that being said, I'll add in a few of my own. First and foremost, my parents, mom and dad, heavy influence. Still influencing me now. Greatly appreciate it. Understand it a lot more now as you get older and you have your own kids. So yeah, my world wouldn't be here without them. Y'all guys, I believe, like Rich said, Yancey was the first one I met, and that was probably around Piney Branch, I want to say, elementary school. And sort of saw other people, other places, but we didn't really click to around Tacoma, I'd say. And then we was thick as thieves through high school. So y'all definitely have influenced me. Other parents on the list that were not mentioned, I have to mention my man Jason Campbell's parents.
Yes.
Rest their souls. Mr. and Mrs. Campbell had a heavy influence.
Yes. Now that's a man's man. Sorry for the interruption.
No doubt.
No problem. Yes, I remember them like Richard's mom and Jason's parents forced us to pray before we went out to whatever parties we was going to. And if we acted up too much, they prayed for us not to enjoy it.
That's life.
I'm very blessed for those prayers. Looking over us. Rec-wise, Tacoma had a heavy influence, but I'll be remiss to not mention the people from Silver Spring Boys Club for me, which would involve Walt Wolfram, had a heavy influence on me. Rob Jackson, heavy influence on me. People from high school, Bill Hinkle, definitely kept me in line.
Wonderful.
Yeah, come on, big guy.
Mr. Hinkle and Dave Briggs.
Dale Lambert.
Yes, Dale.
Gotta give it up to him. And even Dave Skaggs. Absolutely have to mention Dave Skaggs. So those people, the neighborhoods that I was in, that I spent childhood there, Avenue, Lee Avenue, Maple Avenue, Potomac Avenue, Ritchie Avenue. Though people in those neighborhoods, young and old, all had an influence because those are the people I was around most days. I would say John Thompson too, from afar.
Another man's man.
Absolutely. Morgan Wooten, went to a few of his camps. Definitely was blessed for that. Adrian Dantley went to his camp. Parker Memorial Baptist, and I'm sorry that I mentioned y'all last. The men that I met in there, from Reverend Ross, Reverend Williams, Mr. Matthews, Deacon Hall, the families there, all these people have had influence on me, and I'm blessed for all of y'all.
Thank you so much, Fish. Thank you so much. I didn't want to make you feel like you had to cut that short.
Oh no, I was wrapping up.
No problem. I guess it's my turn, huh? Since we're talking about childhood influences. Before I go into who my influences are, I took my son to the barbershop yesterday, as we do every 2, maybe sometime 3 weeks. There's a young barber in there named Trey, and he does look like Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, his name is Trey, but he looked like Klay Thompson. And all the other dudes are probably about 35 plus. And as soon as my son and I walk into the barbershop, you immediately catch on what the topic of conversation is. The topic of conversation happened to be Old school versus new school. What's better? Well, young Trey was all about, man, back in the day, y'all ain't know what y'all was talking about. Y'all was just popping off something you heard. That's why we got Google these days, and so on and so forth. And talking about the different ways to raise your children. You had the old school cats in there saying, man, if you don't control your kids, the penitentiary will. So sometimes you got to put hands on your kids. And Trey was very definitive. That's not true. That's not true. Basically, his argument was, the old school cats was saying you got to control your kids. Where Trey's point was, no, you got to guide your kids. I say all that to say, I'm a strong disciplinarian when it comes to being a father. And the reason I'm like that, segueing into my childhood influences, is the way that my father raised me. Father was very strong-handed. No play in him whatsoever. My father probably actually stopped playing around with me at all when I got to probably about 10, 11 years old. All jokes was to the side. It was all serious from there on in. He was real big on respect your parents, real big on respect your elders. My mother was heavily influenced in terms of teaching me how to, treat a female. My father did the exact opposite on how to do that, but he taught me something nonetheless with that. The same names that we have heard, from Lanny to Otis to Tony to Calvin to Papa Fisher, one of my most favorite saying, and what have you. Papa Suba, Mama Suba, Mama Fisher, Mama Ford, Mama Terry, and with all due respect, at the top of the list, Lord, I still miss this lady, Miss Grandma Terry. All very strong influences in my life. Yeah, I was never, a bad child. None of us was. But whenever, somebody said something they had no business saying or doing something they had no business doing, we had that neighborhood parenting where you was quick to get checked on it. That was another thing they talked about in the barbershop. Nowadays, somebody beat your child. Like, what you put your hands on my child for? Back in the day, they were like, did you beat him? Yeah, I beat him. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's how it was back in the day.
And then they'd beat you too. You got beat again.
Oh, yeah.
Don't leave out the second beating.
Yeah, the beating in there. The beating in there.
Yeah.
But to end off my little piece, I also want to pay homage to Mr. and Mrs. Frank and Connie Williams. May they both rest in peace. Mr. Frank Williams used to be a road manager for some 70s soul groups. The Contours, Jones Girls, and the Ferris. And he had books upon books upon books on the music business. And he knew I was in the music. And he was like, yeah, I understand you want to be an entertainer and everything, but you need to understand the business. He said, you know about the music business, but I need to teach you the business of music. There is a difference. So he used to let me, he used to give me books, to read and so on and so forth. So even when we was running around, playing b-ball, being knuckleheads, 15, 16 years old, I knew a whole lot more about the business than your average 30-something-year-old. So by the time I got into it, I walked in knowing what I needed to know to keep from getting, excuse my language, to keep from getting fucked. And that's all thanks to Mr. Frank and Mrs. Connie Williams. So, I got a question I want to ask, and I want to start off with Fish. If you could pick one thing that any of your childhood influences taught you that has still assisted you to this day, who would that be and what would that be?
I would say, if nothing else, my dad and work ethic. Man went to work for over 40 years for the government. Rarely missed a day. Sacrificed a lot of time. that he would have had spending time with us at times, but that made sure that he was there for every football game, every basketball game. So if nothing else, just making sure that the family's taken care of, making sure that if there's a conversation that needs to be had, that he's available for, and never forced. That's the biggest thing I think I take away from my.
Okay, I greatly appreciate that, Yancey. How about yourself?
You know, again, I just want to say that. I don't want to overlook the ladies, because you guys know I love my mom and all your mothers as well. And a lot of other women have had a positive influence in my life, especially my mom. But but unlike Ray, it would be my dad, because when my dad would leave the house to go to work, he would say, okay, you're going to be the man of the house and you take care of your mother. He said, if anything happens, you take care of your mother. When I get home, I'll take care of the rest. And that's something that has always stuck with me, because, there was a lot of times my dad worked on the weekends, especially when he was cutting chicken for Burroughs Poultry. He would work on the weekends. You guys remember he had the white whale, the wagon, the station wagon, the green inside. And so my mom and I would, catch the bus. My mom didn't drive, so we would catch the bus, and we'd do all. I go with her everywhere and stuff like that. And even as a little kid, I remember, my dad would say, "Your job is to take care of your mother when I'm not around." He said, "When I'm around, I'll take care of your mother. When I'm not around, you take care of your mother. When I get home, I'll take care of the rest." And
Right.
And I'll always remember that, because he always took care of my mother. And he still does. And that's what I try to do with my wife, And a lot of times it's not always financial. There's the other intangibles that you can't measure, that I learned from my dad, of how to take care of the woman you love, your wife, Was he perfect? No. But he always did what he thought was right, and he still does. And he told me, he said, while I'm away, you take care of your mom. And when I get home, I'll take care of the rest.
Absolutely.
So that's something that's always stuck to me.
Thank you so much, Yance. Real quick, since Fish and Yancey went already, we're about to get to Nev and Holiday. Fish, every single Christmas and Thanksgiving, your parents' phone rang with me on the other end. Your mother has always been one of the kindest souls I've ever met. That's why I make sure I do not miss a year. And when she pick up that phone, the first thing she say, "Hi, Joe. I've been waiting on my call. I know you ain't gonna miss no call." In each conversation, it might not even last no more than like 2.5 minutes. But still, just knowing that she knows that call is coming every single year on them days, and me knowing that she's gonna pick up the phone every single year, and when the time comes, man, because we all know we're not gonna be here forever, and that can't go on, man. That's gonna break my heart, or it's probably gonna break hers, But I definitely love Mama Fisher.
He looks forward
and
to
Mama
those
Suba.
calls.
What'd you say now?
I said she definitely looks forward to those calls.
I know she do, and I look forward to making them.
Absolutely.
Papa and Mama Suba. I hear it in my head all the time when I'm outside, man. I ain't got no jacket on. Why you outside? It's too cold out. You ain't got no jacket on. You know darn well. Boy, come. Yancey, get this boy one of your bombers and let me have the bomber. Not wait till you get home, bring it back tomorrow. Let me have the bomber. I come home and mama think I just stole somebody's coat. I'm trying to explain to her now. Yancey's parents gave me this coat. Ain't nobody gonna give you no coat that expensive, boy. What the hell you talking about? I definitely, man, to this day, man, my wife and I got much love for Papa and Mama Suba. But Holiday, I want you to go next, man. Anybody in your life, childhood influences they still influence you to this day with what they taught you back in the day?
It still has to be my mom, with love and forgiveness. Man, that's just the biggest thing. If you know me as spending extended time with me, man, the biggest thing I'm gonna try to get across over to you is that I love you. I ain't never been worried about telling grown men that I love them. Try to make sure little kids know. So, but that was definitely my mom, though. That's so. Yance, I mean, it's impossible because my mom was mom, dad. So doing the dual roles, you know, that just made me more of a number one mama's boy. You know, I didn't have to share, but that's the ironic thing with my mom, my great grandma. Being the only child, I didn't have to share. They were willing to give me everything, but they taught me to love a neighborhood. You open up your home. Even sometimes on punishment, you guys could come over when I, was on punishment. But you weren't going to be there and be hungry. I ain't saying you got a 5-star meal, but you were going to be able to eat and drink something.
Hot buns and Kool-Aid.
Yes. If nothing else, she's going to pop them buns in that oven, make that Kool-Aid, and that juice and bread swell up in that belly.
Classic.
Yeah. So that was my biggest influence. On a side note, I do want to shout out Mrs. Riley.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the Piney Branch, Mr. Davis, I don't know if y'all had him, and then Mr. Hatcher, the principal.
Okay.
Then at Tacoma, I definitely had to say Dr. Settles.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. MacArthur, yes. Artie Brown, Mr. Brown, who is still teaching to this day at Northwood.
Wow.
Is he still teaching phys ed?
He an administrator. He
okay.
He avoids work like he's supposed to.
Thank you, Holiday. Thank you. Much props to the Miss Riley shout out too, by the way.
Yes.
Much props. But Nev, go ahead and clean us up, man.
Yeah, talking about, hearing about everybody talk about all their family members and men that helped us and stuff like that is one thing that I have learned through all this is love. You know what I mean? Like everybody always showed us a lot of love. It was because we didn't come up being like, we wasn't no rah-rah kids or nothing like that. We was all just good kids, just cool kids and stuff. And we learned that from somewhere. When you met the next friend or whatever, you could see how their parents looked at us in a certain way all the time. It was like, we came with respect. We respected other people's parents. We respected the kids and stuff like that. And so we always got shown a lot of love. You know what I mean? So love is the one thing I took from my childhood that I show everyone I come across. Always concerned about how somebody may feel if I say a certain thing, or how somebody may feel if I do a certain thing. That's one of the major things that I took from growing up is just loving the next person and thinking about how they may feel by your actions and stuff like that. So the second thing is that I learned from all my men back then, from everybody, from my mom, everybody, is you gotta have some type of character. You know what I mean? All of them had great character. They all stood for something. They all was, there for whoever they considered family or whatever you may want to call it. They was always there. So somebody that stands for something that has character always meant something to me. And every man that we spoke about, every female that we spoke about today, all had that in our lives. And I appreciate all that. And we are all blessed to have people to be in our lives, because there's a lot of kids out here that don't have anybody really in there. Or they have somebody just showing them totally the wrong way to live, or to just giving them a bad example. And I appreciate everybody that came across my life.
Amen.
Thankful to have you as well, Blair. And we're also thankful to have your family, man. Your family has always been loving and welcoming. to this day. You know, I can't wait to see everybody a little later on in the year when we celebrate your 5-0.
5-0.
And Miss Queen Jasmine's 2-1.
21, 5 milestone for both of us.
I can't even remember when I was 21. Woo!
And can you remember when you was 48?
I did forget before I closed out my list, and I have a couple more people just real quick.
No problem.
Mr. Mbae from Blair.
In school detention.
I have to acknowledge him because he definitely had a role in influencing me. All my aunts and uncles from the Yarboroughs, the Johnsons, the Fishers, the Halls, the Machettis. I have to acknowledge y'all. 4 specific older cousins: Eugene Yarborough, Leon,
Gene,
Robert Machette, and Walter Johnson.
Walt.
All of these people definitely had an influence on me, especially the older cousins, because they definitely looked out for me and taught me how to be a young man out in these areas of the world. So I got them, have to give some love out to them. Anybody else I missed, you know how much impact you had on me if you was around me and I took something from you. I'm sure you know it.
We got to get ready to round this up, but before I do that, real quick, Mrs. Williams was also
Ruth's parents,
big influence upon me. That woman was very adamant about wanting to put me in broadcast school.
Yeah.
Joe, you got to do something with that voice.
Yeah.
She was like, go home and tell your mother I want to put you through broadcast school, but at the time, I couldn't see the forest in the trees.
From unforgettable African sunsets to the gentle whispers of passing wildlife, join us as we reveal Africa's most coveted treasure with African Craft's range of uniquely African premium gins. From the perfect celebration of Africa's most iconic fruit with their marula-infused gin, to the exotic tropical flavors of their baobab-infused gin, and the charming aroma of their honeybush-infused gin. It's no surprise that everyone's rushing to get their paws on African Craft's signature collection. So head down to your preferred retailer or local watering hole and get yours now. African Craft Premium Gins. Drink Africa's best.
Back to school is my time to shine. Pencils, pens, snacks, backup snacks. It's all about balance.
Save up to $6 with coupons on select Big G cereals like Cheerios.
All right, second up is Black protectionism. No one is perfect. It is unarguably one of the truest spoken statements in the history of the English language and mankind. Yet with such an acknowledgement of the fact, we as the Black community hold our publicly celebrated figures, in high regard, even when discouraging and disappointing allegations come to be true to form. That old cliche tone of, it's because they Black, rears its ugly head. Let's have a discussion on why we defend the indefensible to a fault. Fish, what is your spiel?
This one's interesting because I've been on both sides of it. Let's just start from the area we grew up in. We all grew up in the DC area, and we all remember Mary Berry. A lot of people saw him in that hotel room and couldn't understand how he got reelected eventually in D.C.
Right.
It was because of the loyalty he's shown. A lot of people understand that people have flaws.
Right, absolutely. I agree.
But if you've been looking out for the downtrodden, or if you looked out for certain communities when other people weren't necessarily looking out for those communities gonna remember that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So if you do have some things that they can overlook, forgive, or want to stay loyal to, in our community, they're going to continue to do that. And sometimes we do it to a fault. With the OJ thing, at that time, at my age, I kind of just saw that as a symbol of how the justice system's gotten us so many different times.
Right.
So when they found him not guilty, even though if we was looking at or listening to the evidence, and the lawyer did a wonderful job of painting doubt. But if you just looked at some of the stuff, if it was just anybody, depending on how the laws treated you, you would feel one way or the other. If you've understood that the law kind of plays a dirty hand in certain aspects.
Right, absolutely. I understand.
Then you may understand the OJ side and just was glad that the law kind of worked out in his favor.
Right.
You've been on the other side of the law or just thought the law works 100% of the time, then this situation kind of showed you what other people feel on the other side of that.
Right.
The
absolutely.
frustration that they may have. So in that situation, I was riding with OJ. I was wanting him to be, I felt like it was a victory for us.
Yeah,
years later, I may have changed my views on that because I'm a little older.
Right.
But that doesn't still mean that, I fell a victim to that.
Right.
Let's take R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
If you was a fan of his music, if that was your guy, because he got you through some of those darkest times, or you remember making babies to his music or anything like that, you're gonna have a particular fondness of that.
Absolutely.
Whereas me, I love this music. However, I did see some flaws. I did see some things where I'm like, that doesn't add up. Those are problems. Right, absolutely. But to this day, he still has his followers in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
He still has. And I'm not judging because it's everybody's opinion on it. You know, I'm not going to judge you for. But we do have it with our celebrities because we feel like history has shown us that if you can knock down somebody that a lot of people in the African American community rally around,
mm-hmm.
you can sort of destroy people's feelings, from Bill Cosby to Martin Luther King trying to tape him having affairs to current day circumstances. So we understand that this country or the media from time to time will paint a certain image of people. And you're just trying to show that loyalty until you decide you get enough evidence to say, okay, well, I have to say that man did it. Look, I love him to death, but he had to have done something.
Right, absolutely. Okay, I greatly appreciate that, Fish. So, Holiday, you can go ahead.
I think of it as balance, because it's unbelievable to me for black men to be the face of some of these indiscretions. Ray Rice, the face of domestic violence, when it's been known that rich white men have been slapping their women around for many, many years. But we wear the face of domestic violence now. Bill Cosby to be the face of sex pills, when it's known that Hugh Hefner and the Playboy Mansion legendary for giving them out and drugging the ladies there. But yet a black man wears the face for the crime. So to me, a lot of times it's just balance. It's not that you want to defend them. And so to go with R. Kelly, child molestation and messing with young people is nasty. Whoever do it, if you notice, nobody supports that. It's just, I feel, man, I can't even listen to his music the same. He's just a nasty dude, but that's another thing. Right. You know, that's just my opinion on that. It just makes me feel totally different. I got no defense for that. I don't even talk about it too much. So, you know, yeah. So otherwise, it's just the balance of it, because we're made to be the victim, and per se, we got to wear the face. And it's like, well, hold up. Why was this not this way when the white man was doing it? So your defense comes in defending your race a lot of times, because you've seen the other side basically get away with it or do it and not face the same scrutinism and shamefulness that the black man do. So you come to it, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. No different as if we do if it was your family member. We know that some do bad, and we understand, hey, you know, they shouldn't have done that. But when you come down too hard, it's like, well, hold up. You got a crazy uncle too, or you got drunk family members, or nobody do that when you're... So that's kind of the defense. It's not saying it's okay, but it's like, wait a minute. The way you coming down on it, it's like you ain't never seen it before. You do it, or you've done it. So you should show more of an understanding to it, you know. So I think that's more so than us coming to a defense of like, this was okay to do. I don't think no one's saying that. I don't think Bill Cosby should have been drugging up girls to get sex. Get your rap game on. Talk to them. If they don't want you, then move on to the next one. You know, no different. I don't think in the Playboy Mansion you should be drugging them to get it. You know, like I say, R. Kelly and anybody like that just nasty all the way around the board to me. And I don't think husbands should be slapping up their wives. Different things like that, you know. But do I think the black man should be the face for it? Absolutely not. So it's just, like I said, you come into the defense because it seems to be overkill. And so in this circular world we live in, it's generally balanced. And that's all. You're trying to pull it back to the middle because you felt it's gone overboard in the scrutinism. So I think without that, if you just had kind of the same type of scrutinism or, you know, treated with the same way that you treat it as you did a white man did it, I don't think you would have so many people coming to defense, per se.
I don't look at it as defense. When we first, like, people may take it as we're defending them, but sometimes it's not that we're defending, but we're waiting to see what we believe in our own culture instead of waiting what the media just put on the TV. Because we all know the media can, you know, make stuff look a certain way and stuff like this, however they want to do it. So it's not always that we're defending them. We're just waiting for us to believe them. You know what I mean? It was yourself, or if you want to say as a community or black people or whatever. We're not just going to wait until the first story comes out and be like, oh yeah, we knew we got them and this and that. We're going to wait to see more stuff come out and make us believe it. They got to prove it to us. They can't just say that he did it. They got to kind of prove it to us, but it's not offending him. We just want more proof. You know, you can go through you can think about the Jussie Smollett thing. You know, we just kind of stayed out of the way on that one. We didn't get involved at first because we didn't have enough evidence. We didn't really know what to believe, you know what I mean? Because it didn't make sense to us. So we waited and we didn't say nothing and stuff like that. So people thought we was defending him by not shunning him, basically, or whatever the case may be. But I'm not a big... I don't want to say I don't defend any celebrity or anything like that, but I'm not a big celebrity defender because I look at them just humans. I don't really look at them as, I mean, I get it, they're celebrities, you know what I mean, but I don't look at them. They don't hold no stake in my life, so I don't really jump to nobody's defense, basically, or nothing like that. If we talk having a conversation about it or something, we just throwing it around Yeah, I get into the conversation, but really and truly, I'm not going to really make it. It's not going to change my life no one way or the other. So I don't put too much, emotion into it. Like I see a lot of people online or on TV or whatever, just pouring their whole heart out, giving their testimonies and all this type shit like that. I don't know. So I don't really care that much for it. So, but I know it happens, it is what it is, because a lot of people invest a lot of emotion into celebrities. So, it happens, but when you see it on a local level or just an everyday thing or something like that, that type stuff might touch me a little bit more, and I might be more concerned about it. When you see stuff in your neighborhoods, like somebody right in front of you or something like that, that's your neighbor or somebody that you see all the time, or something, I might look at that a little bit differently because they have some personal connection to me. You know what I mean? So that might be a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't want to take up all the time because I can go into that too. But
I got you, Yancy.
I think what everybody has said thus far, Fish, Holiday, and Nev, just finishing up, I see the point where, okay, you see other races, if we're going to bring up the word race, you see other races get away with certain things. Maybe that's not fair to come down hard on other races. But, overall, I look at it, your hope is in the wrong thing, because when you look at celebrities, like Nev said, they're human beings. Maybe they got a bigger bank account because of their talent and stuff, but they make mistakes too. So you got to look at it as, okay, why is this a surprise to me? Why is this a surprise that people are defending this person? Why is it a surprise that people are not defending this person? So you have to make the choice for yourself. Just like with the Jussie Smollett situation, a lot of blacks didn't say anything because we knew he was crazy. We knew what he said didn't make sense. And sometimes people will want things to make sense so they can push their narrative. Right. So I think we have to be, careful with that. Do we have a tendency to defend people? I like to say for myself, it's like, you know what? They're human too. And if I'm getting to the point where I have to feel like I got to defend a person for doing something bad, then what does that say about me? Where is my morality and what am I thinking? Right. I think, the other thing I think the reason why people defend the undefensible at times is because it may be happening in their own lives. And if you look to a celebrity who has gotten caught doing the same thing that you're doing, of course you're going to defend him, because then you have to self-reflect on yourself. So, I look at it from that perspective too. Now, I will say, the Ray Rice issue, like I think Holiday made a good point. Unfortunately, this does happen. If it wasn't for the video, that's the other thing too. If it wasn't for the video, you wouldn't know anything about it. But now we live in a time where everybody has a camera, or there's cameras everywhere. And let's trust me, you guys know this. If you hear it, that's too bad. That's unfortunate. If you see it, it's gonna be like, whoa, yeah, it's a whole different outlook. And I think that's where, and I think Nev mentioned this is where the video comes into play. So from my perspective, now that I've gotten older, as Fish said, you start to look at things from critical thinking perspective, and not just as a fan, because you realize that these people are human too. They can make mistakes. And sometimes when we build them up, even though they make mistakes, I think it's because maybe the mistake they made is something that we're dealing with personally, whether it's us or a family member. So then if the whole society says this is wrong, then we got to start addressing this in our family. You know what I mean? So that's why I think, and this may all sound convoluted, but that's why I think we have to use critical thinking and look beyond who's committing the indefensible act and what that act is. Because a lot of this stuff, and I think Holiday pointed out, a lot of this stuff has been around for years. That doesn't make it right, but it has been around. And, you've had all races do certain things that are reprehensible. But as an individual, you got to look at it from the perspective of, okay, yes, I like this person, I'm a fan of this person, but why am I trying to defend something that, regardless of who did it, it's a bad thing? You know, because whether you say this person was set up or this person had this happen or whatever, they still had a choice of whether or not they were going to commit the act or not. And they chose to, well, they had an opportunity to choose not to as well. Take, for example, Bill Cosby. You know, unfortunately, if Bill did what they said he did, then, you know, he will eventually have to pay for that, and he should get the consequences that is deserving of that situation. But notice when all that came up, it came up after he was going around talking about how black men need to be more accountable in their families, and how black people need to start relying on themselves, and how we have to stop blaming everybody else for the choices that we make. Well, if there are people out there that don't like that message, they'll find something that you have done, or they'll get people to come out of the dark and say, well, you know, this is what happened to me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, because even in those separate situations, that person still had a choice to do what he or she wanted to do, and they chose to do that. It just so happens that it was under the radar until people came out saying things that, as a society, oh, we don't like to hear that. I mean, you see that. You see that with politicians. You know, if you want to see everything that you thought you knew about yourself come out, run for office. And even now, when it's local, Mayor Barry, Fish brought it up. He was great. He made sure that all the teens had jobs that they wanted to work. I mean, he was a good mayor, but he had his flaws. So he made some mistakes, just like we do. But we can't defend something that's wrong, So I think we just have to use better critical thinking skills and realize that we got to put our hope in something more than just humans, because they're going to let you down.
Yeah, I don't defend them because I don't see how anyone can defend or accuse. I wasn't there. I don't think that's where my conversation comes in. Like, man, how are you speaking so definitively? I don't know. So for me, I go just like the white folks, like we talk about OJ. To them, I say accused killer. He got off, so you just accused him of killing. I don't call him definitive. Now, for our black folks, I may be more jokingly and saying, that's a acquitted killer right there, and jokes with our own kind, But on either way, I don't say or feel in my heart nowhere about it. I wasn't there. I don't definitely say he killed them people, and I definitely don't say he didn't. I wasn't there. I don't have that much of an interest about it. I want the people that is affected to get the care that they need. That's the most I have about the situation that I'm outside of, that I don't know if it happened or not.
Good point. Everybody has very, very interesting takes on this particular subject. And I greatly appreciate them all. Hopefully our squad up is enjoying it as well. Just to close out Black protectionism, a couple of things. Everything that everyone has said, there is no wrong answer, or there is no wrong take on this particular topic. But it's some things I would like to tweak in terms of talking about it from a different angle. One of the reasons that a lot of people, and I'm just talking about people of color, black people in Pacific, defend their celebrities is because it's a psychological thing. They're not really defending the actual celebrity. They're not even really defending the actual individual. They're defending what looks like them. Or they're defending someone who has tapped into their psychological thinking or their spirit. Music touches the spirit. When your spirit gets touched, it speaks to your mind. You watch someone, whether it's a great actor. We love Denzel in the black community. We love Samuel L. Jackson in the black community. And of course, we love Bill Cosby in the black community. because what they do exceptionally well. And it's touched a party. It's a lot of people who say, man, I wish I had a family like that in college. I know people say, hey, man, you know, it seems like it's always peaches and cream in the Cosby household, but man, I wish my family was like that. We have those of us who have families that say, you know, I'm fine with my family. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have a family structure at all in their home. And they wish they had that. Or, man, I wish I could be that good at anything in my life. The way Denzel acts, the way R. Kelly sings, the way Jussie Smollett acts, or whatever the case may be. The way Kobe Bryant plays basketball. I wish I could be that good at anything. He touches my spirit, touches my mind. So, when those particular individuals get in trouble, not all, but some of us go immediately into defense mode. I do not want y'all to take what that person did for me away. I don't want everybody to start cascading negative comments towards it. I don't want to see this person in handcuffs. I don't want to see this person dragged through the mud, whether it's social media or socially. So you're really trying to defend how that person made you feel, psychologically, or mentally, or spiritually. So it is black protectionism, but it's more of self-spiritual protectionism. You're always trying to protect what that person means to you by the way they made you feel. It's just like hear us on this podcast. If I hear Yancey did X, Y, Z, that's far from what I've ever known Yancey to be. Immediately, I'm denying it. Yancey ain't do that. Was I there? No. But I'm protecting how he's made me feel over 40 plus years. That's what I have to go on. So if it's an R. Kelly song, if Step in the Name of Love, man, every time he comes on, I'm at a wedding, I'm at a party, whatever the case may be, and I just get this feeling. R. Kelly even says it in the beginning of the song. When music comes on, it's just this feeling you get inside your soul and your spirit, and you can't hold it back. That's true to form. So when something touches you a certain way, and then it starts looking like it's not what you thought, even yourself may think, damn, man, you know, I did kind of notice this, like Fish spoke to earlier, with some things a little suspect. Why is he singing about this? Why did he say that? You know, in the Bill Cosby documentary, they used the scene of one of the episodes where it's a family barbecue. Cliff is talking to Claire, and he's like, you see how everybody gets all lovey-dovey once they've had some of my special barbecue sauce? And he just looks real freaky, man. He just looks real freaky. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of.
Freaky or creepy?
He looks like a pervert. What's the word?
Perverted.
There you go. He looks like a pervert. But the thing is, man, is that, you know, even when things look a little fishy to your eye or sound fishy to your ear, you'll just say, nah, I can't be right about that because I'm attached to this feeling that person gave me. So that's what you actually defended. But it's enough on that for black protectionism. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to let the sponsors tell you about what they make. You are currently listening to the Black Brotherhood Squadcast. I'm your host and moderator, DJ Gemini. And I just came to rap to you for 3 ticks. Make sure you log on to blackbrotherhoodsqc.podbean.com. If you like good conversation, camaraderie, and comedy, then come check us out. Once again, that is blackbrotherhoodsqc.podbean.com. Make sure you click on that follow. Make sure you click on that like. And make sure you click on that share. Share with your friends and family, neighbors and church members. The Black Brotherhood Squadcast. And I am DJ Gemini. With my brothers, Fish, Nev, Holiday, and Yancey. We see y'all there, baby.
My hygienist cleans with a round head. So does my Oral-B. My hygienist personalizes my cleaning. So does my Oral-B. My hygienist uses just the right pressure. And so does my Oral-B.
Oral-B combines a dentist-inspired brush head with the gentle energy of micro vibrations for the wow of a professional clean feel every day.
My mouth says, wow. And so does my Oral-B.
Yeah. We have capped off yet another one. I am DJ Gemini for the Black Brotherhood Squadcast. Definitely hope y'all enjoyed the show. Talking about childhood influences and black protectionism. As far as our childhood influences go, all the names that we mentioned today, we wanted to make sure that we gave everyone that we love and cherish their flowers, their roses, while they're still here. There are some of us, or some of them rather, who have passed on. But I know they up in heaven, shining down on us, and they can hear every single word we speak. They can hear every single thought we think. They can feel every single emotion we feel. So we pay homage to the names we mentioned in the childhood influence segment. Until next time, for my boys Nev, Fish, Holiday and Yancey, and of course, I'm the DJ Gemini, the host and moderator of the Black Brotherhood Squadcast. We love you. Y'all take care of yourselves and keep listening. Peace.